one other girlfriend who I love to death, actually, but she always tells me who she knows. And she's like, I call this person. I'm like, this person's not gonna do anything for you. They're all in their little clique. They're all out for themselves. He is not going to do anything for you. It's Hollywood, all right.
Madonna is the appropriated woman. She's the one. She's the culmination of all of the other women. She's tended to kind of cannibalise past women.
She's very good at that.
And she reinvents herself as the new icon of those. So sometimes she's Marilyn Monroe, sometimes she's Jean Harlow, sometimes she's the...
She doesn't have a particular genius, except
to do that.
The ability
to construct herself. That's what I'm saying. She does that, doesn't she?
A chameleon.
Yeah.
Chameleon. Celebrities can be de-celebritised. Is there such a word as that?
Yeah, sure.
Whatever, delegitimated, if they're overexposed or if they're underexposed.
Well, we think that they live utopian lives, perfect lives, in actual fact aren't that happy.
So a celebrity's actually walking a tightrope between those two abysses.
I always wanted to be on that little television, in that TV. So people have told me a lot about people, casting agents, who I did not know. So I went to meet them for a beer. And I found out soon enough that I'm not going to go that way. I don't need to meet anybody at 9 o'clock at night. It takes a long time to learn the game here. It's a game, it's rules they play to get ahead here. And it took me 2 years now, I've only almost been here 2 years to actually find out which is a better way to go. It's difficult. I think it's very difficult. It's a gamble here.
I've tried so many things in life. I changed many times the way, like the young person supposed to go. I did first the first school. After the high school, I stopped high school because I go for the trip to the Europe. I come back to high school. After that, I go to visit my aunt in United States when I was studying. I come back with this paper to Poland. They didn't want to see this paper. Everything is super crazy about me, my education. My mom told me like that. And now I have the idea to be a model. Paris can be very bourgeois, very French and the same gorgeous, but very, Paris. You can feel it's also business town. Everybody hurry, everybody going to some place. When you go to metro, it's like a fabric of the people what going to some places. It's Paris, it's life, but it's one of the most beautiful towns what I see. In Poland, I meet some photographer what proposed me some test. After 2 days, he showed the test to Cosmopolitan Polish, and they give me job for 7 pages. After 1 day, I meet some photographer what saw my picture before for the Polish Air. So I did in 1 week very many good things in Poland, like the magazines.
I mean, I just happened to be the right look at the time. That's the only thing. Plus, I had a certain amount of talent, she said immodestly. And I had a certain degree of ambition also. And that and I'm not sure what other aspects landed me in the right place at the right time. And through that, yes, I did have success here and overseas. And a lot of it was very confronting. I was not used to being feted and wined and dined and asked my opinion on things. I was very young too, and I found it quite confounding. The influence that comes with celebrity is not a right. It is a privilege. It can be burdensome. It can be very confronting. It depends what you do with it, actually.
If I can make somebody cry and express myself so great on screen, I achieved something.
Real fame is something that comes with deeper experience and time. I mean, when people are fating you and you have your photographs in the paper and, you know, you're being ushered in here and ushered in there, it can trap you easily. You can easily begin to believe your own publicity and believe that that's what you deserve, and you come to expect that from then on. And that's a danger, because it's basically the media that's doing that for you. And the moment, you know, your show or your movie or your play or whatnot is done, that's it. The media lose interest in you, and suddenly you're in a void again.
But it's depressing. I mean, there are moments where I'm depressed and feel like crying, or I have cried because there was no work. I try to think positive, but that doesn't come always so easy. I do a lot of physical activities. That helps. Being physical. You know, training, throwing, meditation. To me, it helps me. I clean too when I feel like, you know, things are not going my way. I go home and clean my whole apartment. It's really clean. Things never go my way, huh?
I was really lucky because I was working frequently, much to my own astonishment at times. And then I found this cause which just consumed me, totally enveloped me. And so it found me before the work dried up. And so it was my choice to get involved with things outside the celebrity business. And I suppose I know I was very lucky. I didn't have to wait for the phone to dry up and the work opportunities to diminish. I'd found something else that was much more important. But I don't know how people cope when the phone doesn't ring, when they're biting their fingernails to the quick.
There are so many people that you could point to who are extraordinarily talented, but that element of luck hasn't been with them. They haven't been in the right place at the right time. And I think fame and success, it not only requires a great amount of hard work and a great amount of base talent, but it needs luck as well.
I was in a restaurant a little while ago at King's Cross, having lunch with a couple of people, and Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman walked in. And they went and sat somewhere private and didn't think much of it. Got back to work and told my secretary, and was about to tell her the story of how short Tom really is next to Nicole. I hadn't finished the sentence. She grabbed 3 people and went off in a taxi down to the restaurant.
To see if they could see them.
See if they could see them. Didn't even get to finish the story. It was only a sentence.
I think this is the funniest looking Tarzan I've ever seen. It's like I'm discovering Hollywood the first time from a limo point of view. It's very unclear. Beverly Hills, it's kind of like, when I first moved here, I was kind of intimidated by it. I was very intimidated by it. Because with all the wealth around me. And maybe it was some kind of insecure issue I had then, you know? Just feeling like I could never be a part of that. It's like you have to get used to things. I'm not used to this. You know? A television, a telephone, a bar. I'm not used to that. Nothing ever came easy to me. And to me, for me, it's gonna be a lot of hard work. I know that. a lot of studying, showing people that I can do this, that I have enough talent. And then it's only in God's hands, because then I don't know what to do anymore. If I can't get it done, then maybe it's not meant to be. But I had my palm read, and they said I'm gonna have success in 3 years. I have 3 more years.
Of course, it's such a fickle thing. Fame and celebrity is so fickle that very often people don't get there. And you come across disillusioned. These are older people who are disillusioned, who are alone, who are disappointed, and are still wondering why, with that sort of determination and focus that they'd had as young people, they never made it.
My mother is very skeptic to everything what I'm doing in my life because of the choice. First I was doing kung fu, after that ballet, after that some trip to the mountains, after that something another. And because I changed in my life everything so quickly, and I'm not going like a good choice to do that and finish play piano or something. She's like a skeptic, you know? Great, let's see what's happened. Good if you're happy, but let's see. I told you what I think about that after a year when you finish. I'm proud of the pictures, what I can see already, what I can find in magazine. It's so easy with movement, with the lights, with the special makeup, do something special in the picture of the even normal person. Even beautiful, but not too...
I mean, one of the traps of this business is that if you do well early on, you expect it to continue, but it very, very rarely does.
Orson Welles being a prime example.
Orson Welles is a prime example, you know.
He peaked at 23.
That's right. And from then on, it was downhill all the way.
I would say it's a little European here, you know? I get a bit of the flair of Europe, which I miss a bit. But like it? Do I love it? No. Because most people are on the surface here, and they don't want to hear that you're unhappy. So you always have to be the happy person. Yeah, and those I don't call friends. No.
We've both worked with some heavy-duty people over the years, and very often you find that they're completely alone. They can't communicate. People treat them so differently all the time, you know, yes sir, etc., what do you want, that they long just to sort of get down to street level, as it were, and sit down with an ordinary human being and have an ordinary conversation. And they find themselves trapped by fame or celebrity. And that, to me, is the saddest thing, when people find themselves utterly alone because they've achieved what they wanted.
So I've known some big stars where it's hard for them to live a normal life outside, and they're actually paranoid of everybody that comes across them because they always think they want something from me. They want something from me, you know? And then I've met celebrities who go out and just don't care.
It makes me realize kind of how fortunate we are to have the sort of family life we have, and to have got involved in something that's outside of ourselves. Because, you know, showbiz is such a self-absorbed business in many ways. And I think that's why people's egos get to run away with them very often.
100 years ago, you would have gone to the circus and seen the equivalent of a celebrity, I think, but now we've got the mass media, which is able to present
Everything to
a
us.
whole lot of people to us without us feeling we have to know them.
Oh, I think even
Or relate
that
to them as heroes.
journalistic voyeurism means that we get to know the private part of them, so that in some ways we get to own them and approximate them in our own life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they definitely have a place in shaping people's identity.
Supermodels and teenage girls. You know, I mean, that's a sad indictment of that celebrity status taken far too far.
And there's a voracious appetite for young talent in this country, which is exploited and then dropped, as Peter said. And There's no reason why those young people shouldn't imagine that that will go on forever. Why wouldn't they? They are the centre of a lot of people's universe for a moment. And of course they're going to feel that that's going to go on. They're talented, they're young, they're gorgeous, and then it stops, and it's so sad. It's so sad. Some people just get on with life and are quite practical about it, and I guess if they're grounded, that's okay. As Peter said, a minuscule amount of people go on in this business, and others just go on wondering why, what happened, and it's sad. It's very sad.
I need money. I need money. I have my dream. I want to buy some house for myself. For this moment I travel, but it's not a thing of be famous. It's what's mean be famous, you know. It's so many people famous, and everybody are fascinating of them, and can be miserable people or stupid people, and they are just famous, or they're amazing, you know. It's so many normal people around me, amazing, my good friends. I'm totally fascinating of them. It's so many young models in this business, like 14, 15, and they just start to make them personality, and they learn in this job to, you know, the best to be famous, to be big, to have money and to make money.
Society seems to be saying, particularly to its younger generation, these are our heroes, these celebrities, these famous people who have enormous wealth, great fame, great power, etc.
But that means also if I'm going to be on a billboard with something really important, that would be nice. And quite frequently me and my girlfriends talk about that when we drive by. Hey Joanna, I'm sitting in a limo now. Yeah. It's true. We'll be right there. Goodbye. She almost choked on a chicken bone. Oh, it's on La Cienega in Santa Monica. Huh?
Right.
A certain person that I know, yeah. She gives all her energy to socialize with those people who can get her anywhere, but doesn't take time for herself or her child that she has. She has a child. And to me, it's like, she's not true to herself. She doesn't want to be with those people. It's 8 o'clock. They call at 8 o'clock. Hey, want to go out for coffee? She says yes, but even she doesn't feel like it, you know? It's not in her heart to see those people, so why go?
They have given their whole lives over to this thing, this fame thing, and when that's either gone or never been attained, there's nothing else for them to, there's nothing to fill up on, and that often leads to drinking or drug taking or the most incredible bitterness, which is terrible.
Fame and celebrity should be to do with the inner workings of a person. We should be putting up people's compassion, their love of one another, as being the heroic aspects of people's nature. The media is there to drive the product, basically. It's there to serve the investors, the producers, etc., to get the publicity, to get the ratings up, to get the people into the cinemas and bums on seats. And it uses people, it exploits people. And when it's finished with them, it casts them to one side.
I then found other things in my life that were more important, thank goodness, because I think that saved me and saved my sanity. And so I then turned that around to make the whole media thing work for me, for something outside, something bigger than me, something more important than me. So whether it's fighting for children or animals or anybody vulnerable and exploited, I have a great passion against injustice of any kind. I have no compunction about exploiting or, exploiting the media. and nor do they have any compunction about exploiting if it's in their interests either.
Yeah, it's an equal deal.
You know, I don't want too much people in my life what are not true, you know? It's the thing.
See, to me, a great deal of fame and celebrity is absolutely empty. There's nothing to it at all. It's straw in the wind. And I think that a lot of the unhappiness that is coming about in society is because when people do reach for these sorts of role models, these sorts of heroes, they blow away, puff in the wind.
I think there's a lot of despair in society, not just Western society, but I think Eastern countries all over the world. So I think that because people don't have a void that needs to be filled, I mean, they're turning to pop stars and sports stars and actors, and some of those people may indeed be worthy, although who am I to say that, of their admiration. But there are others who, you know, probably fall far short and have, you know, feet of clay. But I think that there's a cute side to celebrity worship. I don't think it's it's harmless. So many people are despairing in their everyday life. There's so much anguish in their lives that, you know, if they look at a model or a pop star and they just, you know, I just think it gives a bit of respite from the day-to-day confrontation. And I think that I think it's okay as long as it doesn't become worship.
The media is like creating new myths for us because nobody's really connecting with traditional religion, cynicism with government and business.
Well, I think we always need icons. An icon is an idea which has a religious root. That is, that there's something about the need to worship our society through particular individual achievers.
I think people watch because they're looking for a code. They're trying to figure out in their own lives what's good and what's bad, what constitutes happiness, how should I be?
Yes.
Because I think that's one of the things that these institutions have now abdicated to celebrities.
So I keep working on it because I have a lot of hope right now. At the moment, I do hope a lot and I wish, and maybe that sounds vain, but I think it'll come. I don't have anything else here but me, so I have to make it.
That we are entertaining ourselves to death.
Celebrities are disposable.
We have to create other meaning than what the media creates.
Or do we just end up with bigger and bigger and bigger celebrities?
You know, and other substance abuse or lives that invest in the image of a legend like Elvis. I mean, was there anything more pathetic at the end of life than Elvis? But celebrities are known for being known.
Celebrities are disposable.
Funny, my sister was in the store and she saw like Meg Ryan there, so she wanted to act like she wasn't starstruck and all. So she's like, she's playing like, so she goes to pay for the bill and she's gonna act like I'm not gonna pay any attention. So she walks out to the car and she realizes that she doesn't have any of the stuff that she bought.
And Meg Ryan had it. She ran out to put it.
So she goes back in. And she's like, oh, you're real embarrassed. She's like, I guess I forgot the stuff. And the ladies and Meg Ryan are like looking and they're like, yeah, you forgot to sign your credit card slip and take your credit card too.
They do that to us. What is it?
But why?
With that?
What is it about that?
I don't know.
I mean, just because they're like seen on the big screen and on television, why are they like raised to a status above us?
Dude, they are our heroes now, you know? I mean, we don't have political figures to be our heroes anymore because we sort of see through that now and everybody's corrupt. I think that's what it is. And I think also that we're so trendy that we need like we need sort of up to the minute people to look up to, and what better, you know, than like stars, movie stars, because we can totally just take them, digest them, and spit them back out.
Well, it's almost like because they operate in the realm of fantasy, they can be whoever we want them to be, whereas like we were
They
dealing
can
with
be king of the world.
Oh yeah. You see, and how much have we seen of Leonardo since Titanic? Nothing.
I saw him in Hollywood.
Did you?
Yeah.
Cool.
Mike and I were all, it's Leo, dude.
I know. See, and you acted like you
I
didn't
know.
want to notice.
And he was with
You're like
his
embarrassed.
grandma, so he's got to be cool.
You're like embarrassed to talk to him, and you don't want to inconvenience them because they're like this higher status almost.
Yeah, they sort of have achieved a godlike status, which is incredible. I mean, when you look like Ben Stiller and to be a god, how does he do that? I don't know.
I don't know. Okay. So, like, do you think there's any positive role models within the kingdom or the realm of being a celebrity? Are there people that give back, or is it all about themselves? Or is it just that?
Absolutely. I mean, there's people like Michael Stipe, who I'm going to see tonight.
You going to see R.E.M. tonight?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And he's totally used his celebrity for, you know, to further social causes and stuff.
But you know what? For me, I almost half the time I'm almost like,
You don't think?
almost like it's a ploy to make them look good to give, but
you know what,
but it
dude,
still
I
does
think
good.
philanthropy can be that way in any realm, whether it's, you know,
That's true.
celebrity, media, whatever. I think that it just matters where your heart is.
I mean, so you don't care, like when Ted Turner gave $1 billion to the UN or whatever, you didn't care whether he was doing it to enhance his stature or not. The money was still for good.
I don't know. I mean, there's always the don't let your left hand know what your right is doing, you know. So it seems like
But I mean, I guess my feeling is I think there are people within Hollywood that I genuinely admire, that they lead lifestyles that are responsible and make decisions that seem like they are socially aware and socially conscious. I mean, like for instance, you take like AC Green was playing for the Lakers and stuff. He specifically made decisions and was very overt about, hey, I want to make choices that are going to enhance not only my life but the people around me. I don't want to bring people down and stuff like that.
in that case, it's great to have the media get in there, you know, and like sort of not exploit, but show what this guy's doing. Or like Magic Johnson, just doing, what is he doing? He's like giving people jobs.
Yeah, he's created a bunch of jobs in the inner city by developing, putting in movie theaters and entertainment centers and stuff like that. And no one else probably could have gone in there and done that because he had the name. He was able to do that. So that is a case, I guess, where a celebrity was able to do some positive things.
I'm having a really hard time thinking of people who are doing positive things, though. Let's see, Michael Stipe. No, not Bono. You know, you can count them on your hands, and that's pretty depressing.
They find attraction to movies and entertainment because these offer stories. A movie is a form of communication that is based on story. It's not based on abstract communication of truths and what you want people to understand. Modernism was obsessed by that. But now narrative has come back as a major form of communication, how people transmit values and understanding. So as they go to movie theater, they experience something that they cannot even put into words, but they experience it with their mind, with their feelings, with their intuition, with all of their being, and it's communicated to them, and it changed them a little bit. They don't know how, they cannot explain how, but it was real for them. Church is not offering reality, it offers one aspect, which is a rational truth, rational explanations of what we believe. What is lacking there is a whole emotional aspect of any doctrine, social aspect of any doctrine, political aspect of the doctrines. How do this play in everyday life? And if people cannot, if that is not communicated to people, it hasn't been communicated at all. We have taken all the values and truth outside of embodied person and said, that's valuable. You got to be attached to that. You got to be attached to courage and honesty, and you need to like that and follow that, not that person. But the trick is that all of these values that we want to promote as a church, or as a country, or as a society, they cannot be promoted abstractly. They can be only promoted in an embodiment of a person. Right? You cannot communicate to high school students about courage and honesty on a chalkboard. You can be very engaging in everything in presentation, but only embodiment of that, of beauty and truth and honesty, is what they'll be communicated with them, what they can accept, actually. So people need people to admire.
You got to remember that at certain stages of a person's life, we all carry certain needs that change as we grow older. Well, there's a certain stage when young people are beginning to be what we call individuated, which means they're beginning to be themselves. And as they begin to be themselves, they want to identify with people who are larger than life. So we talk about hero worship in the journals of psychology, but in reality that's the same issue about celebrity. So the young person identifies with somebody who's larger than life, who isn't what they are, and hopes that they might become that. So pop stars, music stars, celebrities become the thing that gives them identity now. And that's a very natural phenomenon when you're teaching Bible stories to children. By the time they hit their early teen years, 12, 13, you want to move to stories of heroes in the Bible and not bring them in too early, because then they'll think of all the blood and guts. But if you bring them in later, they'll think about the fact they were a hero, and they'll begin to identify positively with Scripture. So that's a natural phenomena in the growth of people. And I think most of the focus in the world on the celebrity status, sports figures, all those people are all in those early teen years. And some carry on later, but most of them are in those early teen years.
Like little kids, they want to have the same T-shirts as Andre Agassi or whatever, because we want to buy a little piece of their, I guess, the power or success they have.
Well, I personally, I would go even deeper than that and say that if you look at a society that has lost touch with core values, that has lost sight of God, whichever way you might look at God, I think that in human beings, wherever you go, there's this need for somebody or something to worship. And once you evacuate the main, whether you call it religion or philosophies or whatever else that people used to focus their worship on, you have to replace it with something.
So you're saying everyone basically needs some kind of guidelines,
and heroes to worship. And I think if you have a society where people no longer are sure what moral values they have in common, and that one thing that they have in common is that you should look good and have a nice image and be beautiful and sexy and whatever else, then success is going to be measured using those criteria. And so whoever has those qualities are the big ones. I mean, there might have been...
It's interesting, you're pointing at something interesting when you said that in today's society, people don't have really so-called common values or criteria. I think they're pretty much lost. Look at what happens, especially in the US, but now more or less also in Europe, when we're talking about the sects, all those little religious groups that are formed around one very charismatic personality. They would, follow the person everywhere. Well, I can be talking about Charles Manson, Adolf Hitler, Ron Hubbard, or anyone else.
People are desperate for somebody to follow.
Exactly, somebody who would give them things to trust, things
to believe in.
Yep. Exactly,
a dream.
Exactly, because I think if someone doesn't have a system of values, some criteria to live by, then this person is lost. I mean, you don't know. I think these charismatic guys, even in politics. I mean, all these. Once you have one charismatic person that has some kind of influence on you, you follow the person, because I think it's much more easier to live by to live according to a person's values than to work out your own.
Oh, absolutely, it's a shortcut. And I think for a lot of us, we find it very difficult to work out what we believe ourselves. So we're going to focus on somebody else who's going to chew it for us, and maybe all we've got to do is swallow.
Yeah, that's the big problem I have with some kind of religions. I see, for me, I don't need a chew-up religion. I don't need chew-up opinions. Yeah. I want to go out and there's one famous, well, in my opinion, rock band that says, they want to. It's a very simple message, but I think it sums up the whole thing I want to say. They want to make their own mistakes, and they want to follow their own way. I mean, I think it's even wiser, because once you made some mistakes, which is very painful.
If you survive them.
That's right. That's right. I'm not saying be too suicidal, but at the same time, try to work out things for yourself.
These celebrities become a good substitute for how these values are communicated, and that's why people admire these people. They won't even willingly become naive about them so they can get this kind of contact, right? So the only way to counteract that is to find other embodied communicators of values and beauty and mystery and truth. And that is through the person of Jesus Christ, I believe. He is embodied truth, and by the way, he was communicating through the stories all the time. And another is community of believers, which is embodiment of Christ, which is also embodied truth that can communicate. Just to take out celebrities, it's very difficult to do that, because people can't live in abstract values.